Hey foodie friends, so today we're making a key lime tart. Now, let's get saucy. Alright foodie friends, that's what I said, key lime tart, so let's get right into it. First of all, I have in my bowl here about 1 3/4 of a cup of graham cracker crumbs, to which I'm going to add a nice pinch of salt. I don't use salted butter, so I always want to put some salt in here. And we're also going to add to that 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then I have here 1 stick of melted unsalted butter. We're not necessarily going to use all of this, so I'm going to start with a little bit of it and we'll mix this and then see if we need to add more or if like 6 tablespoons is enough. What you want here is a kind of wet sandy mixture, and when you take a clump of it and press it together in your hand or your fingers, you want it to stay together. So we don't want it overly moistened with the butter, but we do, like I said, want it to hold together when we press it together in our hands. So give this a quick mix. I probably added about 6 tablespoons so far, so we'll see where that gets us. Yeah, that's still a little dry, so I'm gonna go ahead and just add the rest of this in here. Okay, so that holds together pretty well. I think you can see that right when I press it together. So I have an 11-inch removable bottom Tart pan here. So I always like to, when I'm using this pan, put it on a sheet tray, because otherwise taking it in the oven, you run the risk of the bottom coming out and you end up ruining the whole thing. You could do this in a 9-inch pie pan. It could be regular or deep dish. You may not use all of these all of the crust for that, because this is a little bit larger. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in here, and then I'm just going to press it into the bottom and up the sides. So we're going to get a good even layer of this on the bottom, and then I'm going to start from the center and just kind of press it out to the sides and up the sides of this pan. Once that's done, then we're going to pop it in the oven. I have my oven preheating already at 350 degrees, and so this is going to go in there for about 10 to 12 minutes just to start to get it set and golden, because then we're going to bake it with our filling. But this key lime pie or key lime tart filling really only takes about 15 to 20 minutes to bake, so you're not going to get enough bake time on this crust just baking it with the filling in it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and we'll get it in the oven. I'll spread this out a little bit with my fingers and, you know, get it as even as possible. And then I'm going to come in here with this measuring cup and really get the bottom flat and help me to press it up against the sides. And you can use a glass, anything that you have that's got a nice flat bottom. All right, this is all set and it's going in the oven now, like I said, 350 for about 10 to 12 minutes. And then when it comes out, we'll fix our filling and put it in, and then we'll bake it. All right, foodie friends, so our crust has been baking for like 11-12 minutes now. It's a little bit golden around the edge and just kind of setting. So we're going to go ahead and make our filling now. So I have in my bowl already here 4 egg yolks. And to that, I'm going to be adding 2/3 of a cup of key lime juice. Now, key limes, if you don't know, are tiny little limes. They're really, really small. So you can get them and you can juice them yourself. But I always use this key lime juice. It's great. It's fresh. Works wonderfully, rather than squeezing 100 tiny little limes myself. So I'm just going to add that right in with my egg yolks. This is one where you can just dump everything in together. So and in with my egg yolks, and then a can of sweetened condensed milk. This is a 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. So I basically kind of follow the recipe that's right on the bottle for the key lime juice. Now, since I'm using an 11-inch tart pan, I've bumped up some of the ingredients a little bit more than what's in there, but that recipe over there would work for a 9-inch pie pan, or it would work for this. You just have a little bit more crust above the filling, which is fine too. So anyway, going in here with this, and then I'm also adding, now the recipe doesn't call for this, but I'm going to add a pinch of salt, and that's just because salt, as we know, will bring out all those sweet flavors, wake everything up just a little bit more. And I'm also going to add in some lime zest. Now this is just the zest of a regular lime. Again, if you had key limes and you wanted to zest them, great, do that. But I just got a couple of regular limes and I zested. And this is, like I said, the zest of one lime. So I'm gonna break up those egg yolks and then whisk this all really well together. And super simple, guys, right? This is like the easiest filling you could ever make. You don't have a lot of different ingredients for this, and it's gonna be so creamy and delicious and tart. I'm sure you've had key lime pie before. If you haven't, where have you been living? Under a rock? I don't understand. So, and this can go right in this pie crust, even though it's still a little bit warm. That's fine, because like I said before, making a mess as always. Like I said before, this is only going to bake for about 15 to 25 minutes at the most. So this is a thin tart shell. So the layer of the filling is going to be thin. So it's probably going to take maybe 20 minutes at most, I would say. So I'm going to just move this carefully over here. We're just going to go ahead and pour the filling in here. Right, just kind of even it out as much as possible. So we've got a nice, beautiful layer, even layer of our filling in there. And you can see all those green flecks of the lime zest, which is just going to give it so much more flavor, right? The lime juice obviously gives it a lot of flavor, but zest of citrus always gives it so much more flavor. And so we're going to go into the oven again, still at 350 degrees. And we're going to go in there for, I'm going to do it started off at 15 minutes. We'll check it. What we want to see is that the outside edges around here are going to be kind of set, but the center is still going to jiggle a bit. Right, and then when it comes out, we're gonna let it cool for a few minutes before we pop it in the fridge to cool completely, and we'll put some whipped cream on there and some slices of limes, and it's gonna be absolutely amazing. So we'll be back soon. All right, foodie friends, our key lime tart has chilled. I've already cut a slice. It looks so delicious. That beautiful graham cracker crust and that thin bit of the key lime custard there. It's gonna be so delicious. Let's go ahead and get a taste of this. That is so good. Creamy, tart, that little bit of lime zest in there. The crust is crispy and buttery. I put a little bit of whipped cream on top, obviously, just for a little bit of extra sweetness. You could do a meringue if you wanted to. This is so good. You guys are definitely going to want to do this recipe. So thanks as always for joining me here on Getting Saucy with Chef Lynn. There will be a link to the full written recipe in the description box below. You can follow me across all social media at Chef Lynn Wheeler. And remember, keep tasting, keep exploring, and keep celebrating the flavors that bring us together.